Hi, this is Victor Antonio with a value-centric sales moment. Today I want to talk about what most companies like to talk about. They want to compete to be the best. But is it wise to compete to be the best? So today I want to start out about talking about value-centric selling, but I also want to begin with a baseline. What does it really mean when companies say compete to be the best? What is the value in that, or is there value? I think not. I think we have to change our mindset. We have to think differently when we talk about competition. And here's what we're going to talk about. Let me just start laying this out. When we compete to be the best, the first problem that arises is that over time, other competitors catch up to what you're doing. Now you have a product and you add a little feature to it, and then you promote it out in the market. Next thing you know, the competitor figures out what that feature is, learns how to develop it, reverse engineers it, and now they have the feature. Well, then you come back over here and you add a new feature, promote it again, and the cycle continues on and on. But over time, competition always catches up. In other words, competition catches up. That means that the problem with trying to keep up and compete to be the best is that it's not sustainable over a period of time. In other words, eventually somebody catches up. The second problem that happens is that when somebody catches up and everybody begins to catch up and do the same thing, we have something called competitive convergence. Now, this is a phrase that was invented by Michael Porter back in the 80s. Competitive convergence really means when two products or many companies compete to develop the same product, adding the same features, and eventually they become the same. So what's the problem? Here's the problem. Problem number two, it becomes a commodity. See, when everybody else can do what you do, and there really is no differentiation, no contrast, then guess what? Customers can't tell the difference. And when customers can't tell the difference between your product and somebody else's, or there's small variances that you really can't make a big difference between them, companies see that as a commodity. And when your product is seen as a commodity, guess what that happens? Price is then what? An issue. Price is then constantly driven down, and you are now forced to compete on price. Why? Because you chose to compete to be the best. And when you compete to be the best, that basically means you're going to keep up with everybody else. And if you keep up with everybody else and you're doing the same things as everybody else, guess what? You wind up with a product that looks much like everybody else's product. And when there is no differentiation again, what happens to price? You're now competing on price, and that's when the price drops. Let me suggest the following. Instead of competing to be the best, let's erase this and come up with a different approach. Why don't we compete to be unique? That's right. Compete to be unique, compete to be different. In my next video, I'm going to define what compete to be unique means and how you attach that to value. In the video, you're going to find out that once we understand how to compete to be unique as opposed to competing to be the best, we can position ourselves in the market where we can command a higher price for our products or our service. This is Victor Antonio with another value-centric sales moment reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.